To magic. Yep, he also rules magic. Everything occult, actually. We have astrological records, some of the oldest that we can find, all the way back to the first systems developed in like the Arabic world, right? For 2 millennia, it's been agreed upon that Saturn rules magic. The Islamic astrologers Abu Mashar al-Qabisi, they both state that he presided over magic, and those are thousands of years old. But you have to understand that when I speak of magic, I'm more of the Jungian school of its interpretation, right? You have to understand that Carl Jung went through a great, deep depression after he separated from Freud, right? And when that happened to him, he went into like meditations and self-contemplating because he was an introverted thinker. And I said he was ruled by Saturn. Or he believed he was ruled by Saturn, like as I stated. But he found his holy Daimon. And in the Red Book, he mentions this, and his name was Philemon, right? Or the old teacher, or Saturnus, as he stated in the quote about his birth chart, right? Being ruled by Saturnus. You understand when I see Daimon, I'm not saying a demon. Daimon literally translate in Greek to God, godlike, power, or fate. In other words, it's a connection to the higher self or to God. And it helped teach him his fundamental nature, right? Which is, of course, Saturn's mission, to teach you why you're actually here and your fundamental nature. Anyway, back to the aspect of magic. Philemon taught Carl Jung that magic is everything that eludes comprehension. And Jung stated that it is an error to believe that there are magical practices that one can learn. One cannot understand magic. One can only understand that which accords with reason, because that's kind of how we think and learn. Magic accords with unreason, which one cannot understand. Magical understanding is what one calls non-comprehension. Everything that works magically is incomprehensible, and the incomprehensible often works magically. The practice of magic consists of making what is not understood understandable in an incomprehensible manner. So Jung is basically, relating with the unconscious influences, right? Understanding them and making, basically, he's saying that when unconscious influence make a meaningful intervention in someone's conscious life, that is basically the equivalent of magic, right? Like synchronicities that happen or experiences that are like super profound, like theophanies. Like a theophany is like a spiritual experience, right? Like a God experience with God. They can bring like great change in an individual, but can't be like rationally explained or understood, right? And so the practice of magic is how an individual can relate those unconscious influences, grow and change, but not really be able to linearly explain how or why these things occurred. Basically turning that which is in them or useful turning that which is in them into a useful and powerful expression within their conscious experience, right? And yeah, I know, right? It's hard with Carl Jung, it's really hard to understand. His intellect is intimidating and honestly terrifying. Like I don't even feel like I'm the same species as Carl Jung. He's but his intellect was sharpened, and his tutelary figure, Philemon, was Saturnian, and honestly was Saturn probably working through Jung. But he didn't learn all this until he went through great struggles and deep depression, after separating from Freud, because they had disagreements about dreams and the unconscious and their influence and patience, right? It almost broke him, like to the point of like suicide. Like it almost killed Jung. And that's when he really got into the unconscious and really made some of the greatest progress that he ever made. And I don't think Jung ever intended for, his private journals, the Red Book or the Black Book, to actually be out in public. But I'm honestly grateful that it is, and we all should be. Because there aren't many individuals that have went through those type of experiences, especially in modern day, we're in the Kali Yuga now, and we're pretty separated from the spiritual aspect of ourselves. That there was an individual, even remotely close to modern times, that actually was able to connect to their higher self. And not only that, relate it to others through writing. And even though he didn't mean for it to be out for everyone, but it is. Thank goodness it is, right?